Episode 857 The Tiger's Belly Darpana, Karma, Osho, and some coconuts. The year was 1990. A Sunday morning, brighter than a politician's pre election smile, greeted me warmly at my colonial bungalow. I sat comfortably in my armchair, reading the deeply spiritual yet scandalously witty book by Osho. As I flipped the pages, something stirred deep within me. Probably the indigestion from the last night's overly spicy chicken curry, but also the strange spiritual itch. In 190 years, I hadn't taken a human life, but centuries before that, well, let's just say I had quite a resume. Something Osho wrote made me pause. Death is a comma, not a full stop. But still, punctuation matters. Wise words, too wise to ignore. Suddenly, I felt an urgent call. No, not the Natchez calling this time, but something higher, a duty towards souls I had dispatched during my youthful indiscretions. It was clear I must perform proper Balidarpana at Alva Manappuram. Now, visiting Alva for the ritual wasn't simple for a tiger, even if disguised as an esteemed human with tailored shirt. I donned a modest white mundu. I wrapped a towel elegantly around my broad shoulders and put on an oversized black sunglass borrowed from an ex-minister who had forgotten them at my bungalow during an illicit card game in 1967. Armed with a small cotton bag of rice balls and sesame seeds, my offering, I stealthily moved towards Alva. When I arrived, Manappuram resembled a circus mixed with parliamentary debate. Crowds everywhere, priests chanting louder than the television debates, and vendors aggressively selling coconuts, umbrellas, and instant spirituality in convenient pocket sizes. To avoid attention, I walked cautiously, trying not to prowl too obviously, which is difficult when your body still naturally does the tiger thing. At one point, an old man selling coconuts shouted, "Sir, buy coconuts, guaranteed fresh, plucked personally by the minister's nephew." I must say, politically connected coconuts, I muttered. No wonder why they are overpriced and empty inside. Next to me, a political activist were handing out flyers, loudly debating the Kerala's newfound literacy status, proudly declaring, "We can finally read, but understanding is still optional." I smiled. Literacy, indeed, was Kerala's crowning glory. But as I observed people misunderstanding bus schedules despite their newfound literacy, I wondered, had we truly conquered ignorance or just upgraded our confusion? Near the ritual platforms, activists shouted slogans about women's rights at Shabarimala, while others passionately argued tradition must prevail. An old lady near me muttered, "If Lord Ayappa himself came down, he'd probably climb back the mountain asking why humans complicate everything." I nodded solemnly, grateful. Nobody asked my opinion because my views on equality are slightly complicated by my history of eating all genders equally. Yummy indeed. I found a priest who looked suspiciously sleepy, likely all night watching Mohanlal movies. Asked him to guide me through the Balidarpana. He nodded, squinting suspiciously at my massive shoulders and furry knuckles, but he shrugged it off, probably attributing my odd appearance to city living. I knelt by the river, awkwardly positioning my large frame, holding rice balls and sesame seeds and cherula flowers. I followed the instructions carefully, though I occasionally growled the mantras. Thankfully, the priest blamed it on the hunger pangs, suggested I eat more ghee rice at lunch. Midway through my ritual, another devotee lost his footing, stumbled theatrically, and crashed into me, and my sunglasses flew dramatically into the air and landed perfectly on the nose of an astonished priest 3 platforms away. There was a moment of stunned silence. Then applause broke out. One priest even shouted, "Swami Sharanayappa, miracle sunglasses." I sheepishly retrieved them, accepting the handshake and pats from the devotees who thought it was a divine comedy arranged by the gods. Finally, after bidding the spiritual farewell to all the souls I'd convinced in my predatory youth, I stood quietly by the riverbank. As devotees around me debated politics, movies, and family land disputes, I considered absurdity. A tiger performing ancestral rites for the humans, a politician selling coconuts, activists debating loudly, while priests sold spirituality at discount rates. Was life a grand joke, or were we the punchline? Before leaving, I overheard two elderly devotees discussing the latest Malayalam films. Did you see his Sinus Abdullah? Mohanlal sings better than Yeshudas now. Yes, but what about in Hariharanagar? I laughed so much. I forgot my dentures at the theatre. I smiled knowingly. Cinema remained Kerala's second religion after politics, but before actual religion. I returned home to my bungalow, exhausted, amused, spiritually satisfied, sitting back in my armchair, resumed reading Osho. This time I felt more enlightened than ever. But then the hunger reminded me I was still very much a carnivore. With a resigned sigh, I ordered fresh rabbit stew from my assistant, along with a side of philosophical advice. Remember, don't add politics, only pepper. And that, my dear listeners, was how a spiritually curious, politically amused, philosophically confused tiger performed the Bali Darpana. Because even a predator can have a consciousness, especially after reading Osho. Where karma, Osho, coconuts, and miracles met at the banks of Halwa. End of episode 857.